So I have all the wiring gutted out of here now. You can see right here, this is where the front panel goes, or actually I guess you call it the top panel. That gets held in with 2 screws, one right here, and then there's 2 of them, one here, and then there is one in the front right there. So there's 5 screws that hold this thing in. So now that I've got all the wiring taken out of it, and taken out all the screws that I wanted to take out of it, now we're ready to sand. So let me go check my supply cabinet real quick. It's actually not a cabinet. It's more like these little cubicle shelves here. I've got like shelves with all kinds of stuff in my office here. And let's see, we got some red, we got some pink. We got, what else do we got down in here? What's this? Satin Island Splash. Yep. You know what? Looks like we're going to have to make a late night trip to Walmart. Now, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I go to Walmart, I like to just go in, get my shit, yeah, got a bigger bottle. There we go. Oops. We don't want that one. Yummy. And then I get the hell out and go home. It's just that simple. You never understand why women take forever in Walmart. But anyways, now that I've replenished my supply there a little bit, I'm going to take, starting out with the 120 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to sand everywhere in here that is going to get paint on it. Sand up front, sand in the back. If I'm going to anywhere that I plan to paint, I'm going to sand and sand and sand. I'm going to get a little bowl from upstairs. I'm going to put some warm water in that, and if I need to, I'll do some wet sanding too. Now, when you're sanding your project, don't sand it anywhere close to where you're going to be painting, because you're going to leave residue from off of here that gets sanded off, that's going to powder up. It's going to be all over into your area. That can contaminate what you're painting. So I'm actually going to go into the laundry room, because that's got a concrete floor, and I could actually sweep the floor. That way I don't make a mess in there. I don't want to trash my office any more than it's trashed already. So I'm going to go there, and I'm going to sand the hell out of this. And I'm not going to show that on camera, because it's kind of hard to hold the camera and do some sanding, because I really like to get in there and twist and turn, and it kind of takes both hands. But I'm going to get this sanded down, and then we'll come back to the next scene. So I got the sanding done. What I'm going to do now, if you look at this, this is all wet. What I did is I put it under my sink and rinsed off some of the residual shit that's on there. What I'm going to do now is I got a little Cool Whip bowl that I filled up with literally just 1 drop of water. And I'm going to take this rag here, one of my workshop rags, and I'm going to wipe down and scrub now this entire case. I'm going to get it clean. When I'm done scrubbing down on it, then I'm going to dry it off, with towel. Then I'm going to take my data vac to it and blow it out. And then we'll come back. So moving right along, I'm doing the masking process now. Masking isn't really that hard. Some people might think it is. It's really, if you've never masked before, I would suggest taking it a little piece at a time. You don't need to pull out one big huge strip and go, okay, I'm going to mask all this and I'm going to mask all that. Take your time at it and make sure you're pushed in all the way, because if you got a little bit coming out, a little bit of a lip, paint's going to get in there. That's just the way paint is. It's going to get in there. Now I wanted to talk about why we do sanding here real quick. The thing about paint is it's got like little, here, let me call it up on the screen here. We'll start a new little project here. If you could imagine paint, all paint has got like little grooves in it, like this. When it's got coats on it, different coats, those grooves get a little bit smaller. What we're trying to do when we sand is make those little grooves again inside there. That way when we paint, the paint isn't just on the top layer. If it's on the top layer, it'll pick apart. We want that paint to kind of go down into these grooves here so that it locks in place. Okay? People will do like varying degrees of their types, and that really is to break up that surface. Now, one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to get into the substrate. What the substrate is, I guess to explain this, would be the bottom area of your project, whether it's plastic or metal. So when you sand and sand, you're going to sand this way, you're sanding, and you want to go so far down, but not hit this substrate. You can get deformities in your project when you hit the substrate. You can get all kinds of problems. Now, here's one thing about this case that you're going to see. I wanted to show you this real fast. See a little bit of silver hanging out there. You can see a little bit of it back there too. Now, I actually didn't sand on this too much. I used a 120 first, and then I switched it up to a 220, and then I did a light wet sand with a 320. Good enough for what I'm going to be doing. This is a thinly painted case, and I could tell just by the sanding that I did on it. So whatever they did at the factory, it was kind of cheap. But it's not too bad. I think I can work with that. This isn't going to be like a work of art. It's just a computer case. So, I might have hit a little bit of substrate there, but ain't going to hurt too much. We'll put enough coats on here and make it look nice. But anyways, getting back to our masking. As you can see, I'm starting to mask things off here. I'm going to mask basically the whole top part, because I don't want painted. And this back part I'm probably going to paint, so I'm not going to mask that off. I want to mask off the sides here too, just because that glass is going to go on there. I could paint that white and that would probably look okay, but I think on this project I'm going to keep it black, so I'm going to mask all that off. So let me get the masking done, and then we will come back to the next step. Okay, so I got some here and there spots going along, but we are progressing. A couple things I wanted to point out here. First of all, this This is the this is actually the top of the case, but we're looking at it from the bottom side. This is where your top fans would mount. Now you notice I have this masked off as well. The reason I did that is to prevent any overspray from going in through over on that other side and showing through. This area isn't really going to get seen anyways because it's going to have fans there, so I don't really have to paint it. Really, the main reason I'm painting this is for aesthetics, to brighten up the RGB. I'm not painting it to put a different dimension into the case. I'm just painting it for aesthetic purposes. So when I do paint it, it's not something that I need to worry about doing everything. I just want to do the parts that are going to show. But anyways, right here where that front top header connector is, that is also masked off. Again, that's to stop any bleed over that's going to go through, any overspray. Flipping this over, moving right along. As you can see, I got the edges here. This was a little bit of razor blade action there to get that down going out there. And so basically everything you see right there that is black is going to get painted white. Now, next step before we do anything else, it's going to be quite a bit here before we get to the paint. Next step here, I got out my bowl again, got it all cleaned out. I got a clean rag. And this time we're going to use a very dangerous chemical on it. We're going to use some acetone on this. Acetone you can find pretty easily. You can find it at Walmart. You might know it better as nail polish remover. So that's what we're going to use right here. 98% acetone. And we're going to dump that in there. And I'm going to get my gloves on. And I'm going to soak this rag in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe off every bit that I've sanded, every bit that I've cleaned. Acetone, of course, breaks down paint a little bit. And that will happen a little bit here. But really what it's going to do, it's not really going to remove it. It's going to soften it up for us. And it's going to pull out any more impurities out of this sanding that I did to give it a nice clean. It'll pull out any oils. Now, the oil is what we want to get out of there. Oil will fuck up a good paint job anytime. Oil, silicone, things like that. I'm not going to get into paint, really. That's actually what I do for a living, is paint. But basically what you need to know is oil will ruin your paint job. Now, on the top layer of the paint, there's not really an oil in there, but there is a polymer in your paint that will harden up. It's kind of almost like a plastic, I guess. When we're sanding down, what we want to do is we want to kind of scuff that polymer up and kind of get the top surface of that polymer out of there and out of the way. And then we clean it up like I was telling you I did here a little bit ago. And then, like I said, do our masking. Now, the reason we do our masking first is because this acetone, if you put that on a paint job that hasn't been sanded, you could kind of mess that up too. So we don't want to risk that. So that's why I did all the masking first after the sanding and cleaning. And then I'm going to take my acetone to it and wipe it down all over in here, nice and wet. And that'll actually dry up pretty quick. And then let me go ahead and do that, and then we'll come to the next step before painting. So the acetone bath is done, and I want you to see this. This was a perfectly green rag, if you remember looking at it in the last scene. And this is what happens when you take acetone to a sanded case. Look at all this shit that just came off of there. Look at all that. Both sides here. There's just crap everywhere. Now, keep in mind, I did take this case and I ran it under the sink and got some of that residual dust off. And then I remember I took the soap and water and I washed it off. But, you know, look at that. Still some crap on there. That's just kind of one of those deep cleaning techniques that I like to use. And you can see it in action there. Look at that. There is just so much gunk on there. Ugh. I think what I might do is do one more pass with a cleaner rag, see if anything else comes off. I don't think too much will. Maybe it will, but I'm not going to touch this. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean it off. And then when I'm done cleaning it off again and drying it out, I'm going to take my bowl again, get another clean rag, and I'm going to use some 70% isopropyl alcohol. Now, you could use like the 90-some%, but you might want to dilute that down. What we use at work is a mixture of 75% alcohol, 25% water, like using distilled water, by the way. I'm not going to get into why we dilute that down, but 70% isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to pour it in my bowl with a new clean rag, and then, you know, gloves on, and then I'm going to wipe it down. And what that alcohol is going to do is, one, it's going to neutralize any of the acetone that's on here. And there really shouldn't be on here because acetone actually dries up pretty quick, but it'll still get whatever off of there. And two, it's going to give it one more deep cleaning. And we should have no oil on this thing at all. We should have, hopefully, no leftover polymer from the old paint because we sanded that and acetoned it, alcoholed it. So we should get a nice adhesion when we do go to paint. So alcohol is going to be the final step here, and then we're off to paint. And that's going to be it for this video. I can't get into the painting right now. I'm actually kind of waiting for the weekend to get here. Usually when I do my painting, I'll do it out in the garage. But it's, you know, too damn cold to be going out in the garage right now. And when I paint, I want the conditions to be a little better than what the garage would be able to give. I need some warmer, a warmer climate to do that into. And it's not for me. It's to make sure that the paint cures on there correctly. And so I'm going to have to do it in the house. And I'm going to wait till the weekend when there's not as many of us around to smell fumes, because it's going to make fumes. You know, you're painting in the house, and you know, I don't want to piss my wife off. But that's going to be it for part 2 here. When you come back in part 3, I'll get to the painting. So I'll see you hopefully this weekend. Bye, guys.